Wrongin. Welcome to the Theatre of the Mind. Live 266. We're going to do the parish notes to begin with, because normally, 15 minutes before the start, we get our feet in the pews, in the starmers, and we get ourselves ready with a little echo. So I hope you're well. I hope the 1st of December is being kind to you. I can't do nip and a punch for the first day of the month because that only happens on a morning, not of an evening with adults watching. So we'll get into the parish notes. A couple of questions to ask you tonight. As I said, I need to stop doing ums. Not very professional as a broadcaster, is it, Adrian? What I'd like to do tonight, part of the live, is to have your opinions on some things that I've got planned and I'm going to do. So we will talk about those as and when during the evening. So tonight it's an 8 o'clock start, and the reason for that is I just want to find, when I was doing the 8 o'clock starts previously and going till 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock, sometimes 10:30, the later the ending of the live, I was too adrenalized to go to sleep, so I was actually losing a day after I did the lives. So that's why I made it a little earlier. But I'm trying to look at the data as to when people get their feet under the table, in the pews, have their Battenberg at the ready with a little snifter of altar wine, and whether that's more conducive to enjoying the live of 8 o'clock and beyond. So just finding my feet during December. There'll be different start times so I can work out the data, see what is what. And I've got, before I get into replying to people's comments, what are we going to do Wednesday, 24th of December? Wednesday, Christmas Eve. Do we gather and sing carols, or do we gather and sing ribald rugby songs, or do we tell mucky jokes, or do we all get completely wasted on altar wine and laugh about it on Christmas Day? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Invariably, it's going to be a quiz, but what kind of quiz? Ooh, you can tell me in the comments. We've kind of done music, we've kind of done movies, we've kind of done general knowledge. Is there anything left? Sport, maybe, but not too many of the parishioners are sports fans. So I could do 100 questions about Sunderland Football Club. Don't even think I would get any of them right. So I don't know. What do we do on Christmas Eve? Or do we kind of say, no, we have to be respectful. A lot of people will be doing things with their families, or you might have this ugly fizzog on in the background whilst you're wrapping presents and getting Christmas Day ready, maybe pre-cooking part of the dinner. I don't know. I'm happy to be guided by you. And if you've got no bloody idea, well, that is not a first for the Theatre of the Mind. But if you have no idea, I shall make the decision for you, because I'm that kind of man. So anyway, welcome to Live 266. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, the Theatre of the Mind. And let's... Garen Davis in first again. And Ashton Photography. Oh, sorry, Garen. I was just trying to work out what the thummy thing in 1882 was. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, Garen. Ashton Photography says, oh, good eye, all you Battenbergers. Stephen Barrett, he's a barrister, seemingly, has just clearly defined the crime of misconduct in a public office. Chancellor of the Exchequer, question mark, question mark, question mark. Oh, we'll be talking about her tonight. Bloody hell. Thieving, Reeves the thief. And Des goes on. I did find the video on X of von der Leyen expounding the EU virtues of free speech whilst the Finnish police were arresting a protester. A giggle, even though I shouldn't, as they say. Can't make it up. Yeah, it's on my Twitter feed. Des, you're wrong. I put that on there yesterday. I think it was Ursula von der Seven kids. I was making all kinds of gags up about her that are far too adult for me to say on here, because some people are, well, they're a bit woke. and they get a bit upset at comedy. So I'm not going to. 7 kids. Make your own gags up. They're probably worse than mine, as in more adult than mine. Evening to the young Wuckfit. The chair of the Office for Budget Responsibility, that's OBR to me and you. Richard Hughes has fallen on his sword. Would that be a pork sword by any chance, young Terry? My, oh my, that wasn't expected, was it? It was, because they needed a scapegoat and they weren't going to make Rachel Reeves the scapegoat, were they, Terry? You and I, great minds think alike. Tulip Sadiq, sentenced to 2 years in jail in Bangladesh. Not over here, obvs, but in Bangladesh. And she says she wasn't informed she was on trial. Had a weird shite. She couldn't lie straight in bed. Well, I can say anything about her because she does not have a good reputation anymore. So there's no such thing as libel for someone that hasn't got a good reputation. She's going to be jailed. Well, she'll not be going back home for a while, if ever. What did Tulip Sadiq stand down from? Was she the corruption minister? Or the anti-corruption minister, as in not uncle corruption minister? Evening, Adrian, you're utter wrong and Paulie. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, young Wuckfit, Paulie Galdieri, and Les Griffiths. Terry, Tulip has been well and truly plucked. I'm a pheasant plucker. I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker son. Yeah, oh, blimey, young Wuckfit to Les says, I don't think she'll be visiting home for a while. Terry talks like that, seemingly. He's from Washington. Les says, it's a sad fact that only the political small fry face justice. Those that deserve it evade it. I'm with you, Les. I am completely... and welcome, Les, young Wuckfit, Paulie Galtieri, et al. Into the Body of the Kirk. There's still a few seats at the front if you want to come next to teacher and near to the pulpit of truth. It's where the power lies. Napoleon Bonaparte. Hello. What's going on here then? Sorry. Hello. Or should I do hello? I say hello. What is going on here? Then. How do you pronounce that in French? Napoleon Bonaparte. Welcome to the Body of Le Kirk. No, La Kirk, because it gives you pleasure. You don't know that all inanimate things, if they give you pleasure, they're feminine. That's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down, because we will get arrested. Napoleon Bonaparte, welcome to the Body of the Kirk. As with Stuart, evening, Rev. Really enjoyed last night's live. The more I watch, the more understanding and clarity I get. So thank you. Appreciate the work you put in. Thank you, Stuart. And also, we're now doing something called Decoded Daily. So I'm doing a between 7 and 10 minutes daily briefing for adults that think a bit, that have a bit of grey matter up there. And I did it later today as a kind of introduction before the live to promote the live. But tomorrow it's going to be much earlier in the morning. So you'll be able to get your Decoded Daily, what's going on in the world, and my take on one of the big stories of the day. Or we will look forward, as I would have done this morning, to Starmer talking out of his derriere. So Andrew James, does Gary Lineker have a crush on Tommy? He can't stop going on about him. Well, Tommy's got a grin on his face with a couple of girls, Holly Valance cuddling another woman. Again, I shall leave that there for you. Starmer looks even more like a drip when the Downing Street lights are switched on. Oh, has he switched the lights on, or are we going to have her? Because his family don't celebrate Christmas. They don't. They're Jewish. They celebrate Hanukkah, which is the same as Christmas, kind of. Just happens before. Sometimes it includes Christmas, sometimes it doesn't. It's just the way the Jewish Hebrew calendar works. But Starmer, I mean, he's got kids, so I can't really use. I can use it on the legal profession, but I can't use it on Starmer because he's got kids. You can say the legal profession. They use their personality as contraception. Sandra Whittam. Oh, welcome, Sir Andrew James. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. And Sandra Whittam, looks like Wednesday. Their fate is now relegated to League One. No team can survive 18 points deduction. I'm with you, Sandra. It's such a with such a great history, but the top two leagues now, the Premiership and the Championship, they're very, very difficult. Very difficult to kind of get up into the Premiership from the Championship, and from League One to the Championship. That's a big step. But it's all in the name of the sport of footy. So, Sandra, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Who are you playing at the weekend? We've got Liverpool Wednesday night. I might be a bit nervous. Alexander or Alex Isak, the old barcode, he scored one at the weekend, so he might be on fire. But we've got Dan Ballard. So, and do you know, was I looking at some of the Sunderland supporters that, like the younger Sunderland supporters, are talking about Charlie Hurley with great reverence. So it really pleases me that a man that was considered the best centre-half in the world ever, Charlie Hurley, the king, that's why he's called the king. Dan Ballard, our almost centre-half, he's a machine, and he's some size, that boy. But he's respectfully being mentioned in the same breath as Charlie Hurley, which is wonderful. So the spine of the team, from Roofs to Dan Ballard to Granit Xhaka to, well, whoever we decide to buy in January. That's a hell of a spine for the team, if I may say so. So, Sandra, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Always good to talk footy with you. And, blimey, everybody's in. Matthew Whedon. What's that? Andrew James, Christmas time as a starter. Smoked salmon on bread. Oh, Amalia. Actually, I haven't bought tinned salmon for years. I love that stuff. I'm with you, Amalia. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Sorry, I must enunciate my words so I don't sound like I'm getting excitable. So, Rebel, is Tulip still an MP? Not for long. You're not allowed to have a criminal record, are you, as an MP? So she's got a criminal record, albeit not in this country, technically. I see you said, I saw your decode. It was scripted, but still okay. Very kind of you. I see you. Very kind. Rich, yes, she is. What a joke. Napoleon blown apart. I love the 10-minute daily idea. Our memberships coming too. Yes, they are Napoleon blown apart. I'm going to make them very worthwhile. They're going to have great value to them. So I may do like a free update, but a longer daily update for the members that includes some of the stuff that I can't really see anywhere else. And I've drawn up a hit list. Not as in an assassin's hit list. Hang on, let's have a look. Oh, okay. I've drawn up a hit list for people that I want to interview. I have contacted David Icke again. I'm really saddened that David or his team are not kind of looking at somebody who supported him when most people weren't. And now that he's gotten his channel back and his position back, and I'm not getting a look in, which is fine, prerogative. But a little disappointing for me, but I am contacting people, and we shall see who I get for the new year, for 2026. So interviews are coming, memberships are coming, more stuff for members than the freebie stuff, and I'm going to have like a tier of memberships, so that the more you support the channel and enable me and support me and help me, as a lot of people do already on these lives, and I do appreciate all the support from a like or a super thanks or a super whatever they're called. I really do appreciate all the support that you give the channel. So welcome. It's 8 o'clock. Hang on, what does it say? Yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Why does it say? Oh, that's because that's how long I've been going. I like that. So, welcome to the Theatre of the Mind. It's live 266, Monday evening. So, though they've hidden the 5.3 codex from all of you. Who's that, Mark Roy? 5.3 codex? Which codex is that? Israel? 5.3 codex. It rings a bell, but I can't remember. BD Cool. You can interview me if you want. It'd just be bad jokes, though. I bet it'd be bloody funny, BD Cool. Why not? Because I'll tell you the truth. I I don't need celebrities. I don't need people of the reason why I did phone-ins, and I've done phone-ins since, how long is it now? In 2026, it will be 37 years. But my radio career goes back further than that. But I welcome stories, any stories from anybody. It doesn't have to be celebs. It doesn't have to be lifting the veil or behind the scenes or anything like that. Just, a good story is a good story is a good story. So any human being that has a good story, most welcome on the channel. NLR 70, I would love to do a podcast with the Flashing Blade. Sure, Alan would do it. Oh, sorry, NLR. Yeah. Have I got Alan's contact? I think I have somewhere. In fact, hang on a second. We're mates on Facebook, man. So yes, I'll have a word with the Flashing Blade, because he's a character and a half, and literally, you could sit and talk with Alan for hours and hours and hours. I think did we play cricket once? I mean, I've known Alan, Jesus, must be 40 years. Not busy mates or anything, but, we're aware of each other, of course. Mark Roy, no. Oh, I say, the 53 Codex is embedded into everything in this realm. Is that spiritual realm, or is it like the Fibonacci sequence? That's also embedded in everything in the physical realm, of course. Hang on, what I see you said? I'll Google it. All right. Is it suitable for work? Right. Stop that. You're distracting me. I want to ask a favour of you this evening. So again, if you have any ideas, or you're just going to leave it to me, Wednesday, 24th of December, Christmas Eve. So we'll do the usual leading up to Christmas, but on Christmas Eve, do you want me to sit here as a chorister and sing Christmas Eve, Christmas hymns badly, very badly? In fact, I'd have to put this on silent so you couldn't hear me. And do we do New Year's Day rather than New Year's Eve? Because can you imagine New Year's Eve? It'd be like there'd be fireworks going off. It'd be like Fallujah. But New Year's Day, are you going to be slightly squiffy on New Year's Day? So I wonder, do we do New Year's Eve because that's Wednesday rather than, or do we do New Year's Day that's on a Thursday? Amalia, man, saying absolutely is which one? Or are you talking about something else? Interview Ed Miliband. Thanks, Les. Ask him if he misses his home planet. Oh, yes. Yeah, of course, Nicholas. Apologies, you did tell me. Rev, see if you could get Roger on, the man who couldn't stay scum-sucking pond life. I've still got his home telephone number somewhere. Great idea, Stuart. Hello, Roger. Who's that? Adrian. Adrian who? Oh, bloody hell, get off, Adrian. No, not speaking to you now. Who's Alan? Well, it could be Alan Robson, one of the greatest phone-in presenters this country's ever seen, in my view. Multifaceted, multi-talented, loves a great ghost story, bit of a telly star in the Northeast. I mean, nationally. I mean, he if somebody wanted to get on in media and wanted to study a success story as to how to do it, Alan Robson's your man. If you study his life story, he's par excellence, in my view. And I'm sure Nicholas will agree. Really, Mark Roy? It's the architect's personal signature. Ooh. Now you've whetted my appetite. I'm definitely going to do a bit of research tomorrow. Thank you, Mark. Right. I'm not going to the comments, because bizarrely, the comments have kind of, instead of being side by side on in my window of view in YouTube, it's now underneath the telly bit on YouTube. So hang on. Bloody hell. Hang on. What are you two talking about? Sandro James and BD Cool. Give us something to look forward to on New Year's Day. Right, okay. Not Susie Quattro's unzipped catsuit. Amalia says, the thing you said before, I can't remember what that was though. Amalia, it's Monday. Just sit. We'll look after you. We might bring you a bit of Alta wine and Battenberg if you play your cards right after your salmon. Skull and Bones. Ooh, 53. But in Mark Roy, in Japanese kanji, 8 and 4 are the number of death. So 5353, is that the number of death? Stephen Hall, welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. This is Live 266. I'm Adrian Allen, and this is the Theatre of the Mind. So, over December, I'm going to ask you a few questions. One, the timing of the lives. Does 8 o'clock work better for you than 7:30? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for don't know. So, is an 8 o'clock start of the live better for you? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for well, I don't know at all. 5 plus 3 equals 8, yes. BD, cool. Master of the obvious. Get Out Offender, Nicky Watson, Sir Andrew James all say yes. Hang on a second, I need to click on that, and then click on that. Right, lovely. So it's 1 for yes. Is 8 o'clock preferable? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for... I'm not sure. Tom Harney's is unsure. Just Sam. No. Napoleon Blown Apart, 1, 2 or 3. I'm here always, and I do appreciate it. Napoleon Blown Apart, seeing as you're in the US of here. Got a few references tonight about America. You might be interested in them. Stuart, you smooth talking bar, Stuart. Anytime you're on, Rev, I'll watch. Yeah, me too, Stuart. So it kind of... Les Griffiths makes a very good point. I thought 7:30 would be better, but in hindsight, 8 o'clock is best. And Karina is not fussed. I'll do either. Pauline Makepeace. Actually, Pauline says, don't mind usually catch up. The catch up has as many people watch it as do the lives. So I think today it's 50-50. It's 100% who watched it last night, and then 100% have watched it again today to double it. Rich, 7:45 parish notes for an 8 o'clock start works well. Okay, right, we're getting there. Most people are saying yes. There's the odd 1 or 5 saying no, and a few going... Terry Wookfit, Rowley Gregor. Hang on a second. Tell me, Terry, Rowley Gregor. Gregor. Peter Thegsteth. So thank you. That was the timing. What else? Just for, again, as part of you helping me in what we're doing with the channel, have you, and look, I'm not judging, that it's there on a daily basis to bring in subscriptions. That's what the Decoded Daily is there for. It's an adult briefing first thing in the morning. So have you been able to, and I appreciate you're busy and you just get yourself sorted for the life, but have you watched the Decoded Daily that I uploaded a few hours ago? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. And then I'm going to tell you something, and then we're going to get into the real stuff. Washington 53.5. Lovely. Thank you to everyone for their support. Thank you very much. So it kind of gives me again an insight, because I don't know exactly who watches things, but if my core audience are supporting the lives and watching that, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lionel. So finally, before we get into the Simon, I'm going to tell you that I was going to ask you a question, but I'll talk about Christmas, because it is December the 1st. We're allowed to. Don't know whether you've got your Christmas decks up yet. We haven't. A friend of mine has. Saw some lovely pictures earlier. I do appreciate that. And I will give him a call in the morning to go, oh, blimey, December 1st. Let me very quickly have a look at this. Been working all day. I'll watch it after the live. Thank you, Stuart. Just Sam says I'm at work. Yeah, I'm not judging anybody at all. Tick the notification bell, then you won't miss out. That's OWT. Me. I have. Brilliant, Karina. Hang on. It's all right. It's just there to entertain you. So no judgment here. So this evening, I've got two things. I'm going to ask you a question in a moment to start kind of just getting the ball rolling and your juices flowing, so to speak. But I've decided to do a Theatre of the Mind Advent calendar. Now, you're probably thinking, all right, Clever Clogs, how are you going to do that then? I'm going to read you a Christmas Advent story every day. And that is because I want to see if there is an adult audience that like to have the willies put up them late at night. So I'm just asking. So there will be an Advent calendar. And I was looking at the stories a little earlier. And the one on Christmas Eve, Jesus. Jesus. No, not him. Not Jesus or Yahweh or anything like that. But there's going to be a little Advent calendar for you. 24 stories leading up to Christmas. So I'm going to ask you. Hang on. Gene Psychic, hello, been away through stuff. Hang on. Thank you, Gene Psychic. Lovely to see you again. I know you've been away for a while, so I do appreciate you just saying hello. And I've got my decks up. My best mate and his missus have had their tree up since the beginning of November. I love a bit of Christmas. I've had many of them on my own, but yeah, everybody's waving at Gene. So you'll have your Advent calendar. So when I finish this live, it was a choice between, do I do the first story to scare the hell out of you before we finish the live, and I just want to do it separately so that it's there, a story a day. When it gets dark, I'll upload them for when it gets dark, because it has more atmosphere than during the daytime. Some of them are very dark, very dark. And were they really? Ooh. Well, I'm doing the Decoded daily in the morning. So, yeah, maybe I'll put it up about lunchtime. So it's your Advent calendar, 24 stories, including tonight, which... Look, by the time I get to 9:30, I'm probably going to think I'll just do it now. But either way, story coming, door 1 of 24, up to and including your Advent calendar. I was having a think a little earlier, and just musing things. I mean, I don't know about you. Do you not think it's still a bit weird what's going on? I mean, you've got Robert Reeves the thief. You've got, Starmer. I mean, there's any amount of epithets I could give that man. But it's just weird. And it's like Russia and China, Russia, America, Trump's being a bit weird. Not sure if his health has been affected by something. But I was just thinking about the word compromat. You know, Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein Island and the stuff that they've got on all the powerful. And you've got Ehud Barak, who was quite the visitor to Epstein's New York gaffe. And I just thought, you know, the most challenging thing that mankind is facing, it's not AI, it's data centers. And I am going to talk about data centers a little bit later, because there's something very interesting happening. But look at the airports and the flights. Look at the NHS and Marks and Spencers and all these breaches of their systems. And I'm thinking about compromat. So firstly, the first question that comes to my head is, who has got what on whom? Because that's what it's all about. As I say to you, there are certain politicians in this country that I look at and think, what exactly have they got on you that makes you jump and do exactly as you are told? It's like being a Manchurian candidate. Manchurian candidate is just somebody who works on behalf of a foreign power, whether it be a government or an NGO or just a simply foreign power. So I thought, what if there was a data breach? You know, all the Epstein videos of very wealthy and famous men doing untoward things to kids and stuff. What if there was a data breach? A bit like, you notice how the P. Diddy video scandal disappeared. Money bought all of them, proper old school money. Like, how much do you want for that? 10 million? Take it 20. Give me the video now. Have you copied this? Where is it with? Is it with lawyers? 30. Just give me. Give me. 100 million? Give me. So money is power. And they can buy anything. So if there was a data breach and all of a sudden things were posted online that they didn't want you to see, I mean, even the 77th wouldn't be able to scrape the internet of all the stuff like the blue movie, you can't see my lips move. The blue movie of the royal member of the family. I mean, you've never seen it. A very ribald adult movie of a member of the royal family. So that money just buys it, just clears it, just buys it, just they'll sanitize the internet. Oh, you think they can't do that? Don't be silly. Look, they can, as Simon Cowell admitted the other day, somebody said, oh, you're aging backwards, Simon. And he went, well, I look after myself. I'm plastic surgery, Simon, perchance. And he says, oh, yeah, I have my blood taken out and washed. Though I'm very well aware that very wealthy people during the pandemic, they were having their blood taken out and washed in case there was spike proteins in their blood. They didn't want to die, didn't want to go with a stroke. I'd happily go with 2 hands. And, well, the world that you and I reside in is not the world that the elite reside in. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on. So basically what I'm trying to say to you is the whole leadership, the country leadership spy game, is it just about compromising evidence? So what have they got on prime ministers around the world, or presidents around the world, or anything? Because money no longer has a value unless you're selling something of value and being given money back for the thing of value, which might just be a videotape or a little movie that they were caught doing once. But then we get into the Manchurian candidate thing, operating on behalf of a foreign power. So I was just thinking, if there was a data breach, would it all spill out? Would this all become viewable by the public? I mean, there was the fappening. Can you remember that a few years ago? Was it 10 years ago? When certain actresses and actors had their very personal pictures just dumped on the net. Not remember the fappening? Don't ask me what fappening is, because I literally can't explain it on here. Not only is it not suitable for work, it would make your hair curl, and I'm too much of a gentleman. But the fappening happening, that must have been pre-2012, 20 years ago. And yet nothing really. The P. Diddy thing, there was certain videos of P. Diddy and J-Lo. They never came out, did they? No, she's still a superstar, charging 2 million quid for a concert for somebody's wedding. So let's get into the big story of the day. Why am I talking about a data breach? 2026, baby. You know me. Love a prediction. But I've just done it in a way where I've not predicted it. So I can't get done. Keep with the programme. So today, I'll kind of go through a quick analysis, a sort of summary for reference, and then I'll tell you what I thought of some of the detail of his speech, because that's why I'm talking about. Are you linking this yet? I'm talking about Compromat, because it's beyond me how he just does as he's told. I mean, I know the people that are pulling the strings in the shadows, they knew that he didn't have a personality, but they didn't realise how inept he was, and he is. And I would ask you a question, but I'm not sure it's worthy of our attention. But I have a feeling somehow that a general election is going to happen quicker than you think, quicker than I think, because I think Labour are in quite the quandary. Sandra James says, Cowell hired Max Clifford to be his PR man and he bailed out Jonathan King. I think, Sandra James, Cowell was the biggest donator to Jonathan King's defence fund. I think that is pretty much accepted. Gene Psychic, it's worse than Battenberg slices. There is no such thing, Gene Psychic. So let's look at Robert Reeves. Her budget last week. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe her? So 1, she lied. No, she's a fine, upstanding member of the public. 3, I don't know, Adrian. So, do you believe Rachel Reeves has lied? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. Before we get into this detail, I want to see where you are with things. Comic Mania, Matt Whedon, Gribbo, Amalia, everybody's saying, yup, she's lied. No, there isn't a single 2. It's like 100%. Everybody. All the bloody way, says Gene Psychic. All that. I never believed her from the beginning, says Tom Harney's. So it's ones everywhere. Everybody believes she's lied. I can't see how she's going to get out of this, because like Starmer, he's toxic as a brand. He's toxic as the Prime Minister. He's killing the Labour Party from the inside, in my view. And Reeves, so now you know why in the leadership challenge to Starmer, she kind of threw her hat in the ring, did the press conference, the presser as it's called. First thing Tuesday, we had New Suit Lammy, and we had the Miliband's making a move. They're all positioning themselves just in case he goes, right, you bunch of bastards. I'm leaving. I'm going. I don't want to be Prime Minister anymore. I'm going to go to the House of Lords anyway in due time. So, no, up yours. So maybe he will do that. Who knows? But today, Starmer publicly defended the budget and the choices made by Robert Reeves. He stressed that tax rises were, and I'm quoting, necessary but fair. And Starmer has cast the budget as a moral duty to protect working families and children. Now, he denied any misleading over public finance, and the OBR, that's the watchdog that overlooks all of this and oversees all this, had signalled there was no deficit but a surplus before the budget. So they knew, the OBR knew, and Robert Reeves and Starmer, and probably the whole of Ozempic Palace, knew that there was a surplus, and in fact there wasn't a 22 billion black hole. Now they think that we're stupid, because Starmer today was saying, well, it's 16 billion this and 16 billion that. We were told categorically 22 billion was the black hole. It had been left by the Tory party. I don't know why I'm pointing over there. By the Tory party, who the Labour Party blame everything on. I mean, Robert Reeves will blame anybody. Christmas, her birthday, the Tories, Brexit, anybody. She'll blame anybody except take account of herself. Would she do that? Accountability? Isn't that what accountants have? Keep up. So he was kind of backing her, and the pair of them at PMQs and such like, They were using this £22 billion black hole. Even Starmer was standing at the dispatch box saying, well, there's a £22 billion black hole that we've got to fill, so we've got to raise taxes. That was the excuse a year ago. And then that excuse started to come out. But I've told you before, do not believe a word that comes out of their gobs. Why? How can you tell when a politician's lying? Their lips move, and he said 22 billion. She said 22 billion, and all of a sudden everybody's gone, thought you said there was 22 billion missing. Ah, well, we wanted to increase the headroom. And everybody's turning around going, what? When did you make this one up? So the gap between rhetoric, poverty, reduction, headroom, fairness, investment, and the reality, which are tax rises on working people, frozen threshold, and rising costs. They're blaming it on inflation. Have you noticed the smart move? Blame it on inflation. But inflation is just government spending. So the more the government spends, the higher inflation goes, and they blame it on inflation so they can raise taxes on you. Snake oil sellers, I keep telling you. But this is exactly what they're doing, but we're seeing right through it. So today, earlier, Sir Keir Starmer stood up and defended last week's budget delivered by Rachel Reeves. He called it, and I'm quoting again, a moment of personal pride. He said the tax rises were necessary but fair. Threats to young people and the welfare state inefficiency were framed as the pretext for sweeping change. Now, I'll just say this for your premise and his information. We need a Department of Government Efficiency because we know that the NHS is just hoovering up as much money as possible because then it ends up in people's pockets. We know what corruption looks like, we know what it smells like, and we know how expensive it is. Now, Starmer has argued that there was no misleading over public finances. You don't say. Despite evidence that the Office for Budget Responsibility, the OBR, had warned weeks ago that the so-called deficit had narrowed and then vanished entirely. But Starmer didn't really, in his speech earlier, he didn't shy away from it. He kind of doubled down. Now, he's a barrister. I've heard rumours about barristers doubling down. So he painted, it's, as I said in the, if you haven't watched it yet, please watch the Decoded Daily. It's about reframing. I give a very calm and measured insight into what is going on with Starmer, Reeves, and the budget. But as I say, Starmer has painted the budget as welfare reform, as poverty prevention, scrapping the 2-child benefit cap, raising support for families, and promising growth and stability and Bonnie Blue headroom. So in my view, it's not financial policy, it's political theatre. It's a narrative reset. They're struggling because they know we're all awake. They know that the press are kind of onside, but they've got to be just at it. So Starmer and Reeves know. I mean, she's now more robotic than him. But remember, they're both Fabian. Remember, they both belong to the WEF. They are assets for the World Economic Forum. She was there in January for the whole week. Most people just go for like a few days, glad hand a few people, say hello to their mates, and then they disappear off home. They land on the Sunday and they're away by the Thursday. Reeves was in Davos Saturday to Saturday. Some people said, oh, she's there with her begging bowl out. I think she was taking her bloody orders from Klaus Schwab. But this Labour government, they're selling pain as progress. So when they say your taxes are going up, we're freezing thresholds, and we're looking after the young, the elderly. No, actually, the elderly, we don't care. They can die. We're not going to give them any winter fuel allowance. They're selling pain to you and I as progress. They are wrapping the tax hikes, the welfare changes, and public spending pressure in the garb of a moral duty and national renewal. Remember, he said he was going to do it when he came into power. But have you noticed one important thing that he never ever does? He'll give you the top line. He'll glibly say, we're doing this and we're doing this, and because we're the Labour Party, we have a moral duty. And he doesn't ever give any detail. He gives you the what, but he never gives you the how. Ever. That's what great leaders do. They'll give you the what, the why, and the how, because leaders, great leaders, are meant to take you with them. Starmer, he doesn't do anything like that. And if you want to see how a political party shouldn't operate, have you heard of a party called Your Party? I mean, how creative are these people? Is it just for money laundering? They've got a sultana as the head of the political party. A sultana. What's happened to the raisins? I mean, I know the left are mad and chaotic, but can you imagine they had to bring bouncers in to what somebody might term as the party conference? Your party. I mean, Reform, I thought, was setting the bar really low, but technically that's what it says on the tin. That's what they're going to do to this country. Reform the country. And Your Party? Jesus, it was a better clown show than 10 Clowning Street. It was entertainment writ large. They were all at each other. And then they sat around and said, so are we going to have a leader? And they've all gone, no, we can't have a leader. We'll do it by committee. The Labour Party, by committee. Neil Kinnock, old Ginger Baldy, that's why he was never a great leader, because it was all by bloody committee. And then you had the Scousers sending out termination notices by taxi. And, I mean, why would you hire extra bouncers for the inaugural Your Party conference? Because it was all kicking off. I mean, I thought that they had a certain decorum. I thought they had, well, class. Politicians never get into fight unless you're from Cheshire. I thought, we'll keep the red flag flying high, the red duster. They're all bloody atheists, man. They've got to be. The communists, they're atheists. They're not going to go, oh, yeah, Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. And Jesus. Does he play centre forward for Argentina? They're atheists. They don't care. I bet there was no bloody mince pies at their inaugural conference. I bet there was no freebies. So the people that have organised the party, they voted them out and got their mates on. I think their executive committee haven't got any MPs on. Power struggle, anybody? And they've not even gotten started. And then there's little Sultana. She's standing outside holding her own court rather than go into the conference hall. You couldn't make this up. You couldn't. And like 24 days before Christmas, goodwill to all men and women. That includes them and their brothers and sisters. It's just... Terry says something really prescient, really, really, really deep and profound. Didn't they have a poll to determine its name? It's like Boaty McFuck Boaty face, Boaty thing. Can't we allow English humour just to dictate? Because that's when we're at our best. That's what we Brits do wonderfully well. It's just take the pee out of ourselves and everybody else. So why don't they have a poll? Right, we want you to name the party. What do you want to name the party? Somebody will have called it Jez or something or other. Oh, Soul Rebel, of course. That was how Rodney was voted chairman in Peckham. They wanted to go to the pub. They have Zara Sultana. Well, that's a current name. But it's just let people take the mickey out of them. Can you? I mean, there are all these comedians and showbiz types who want to get into, oh, I'll be MP for reform. Yes. I'll be MP for you. What the bloody hell? Most of the time you're talking out your derriere. So, I don't know what Soul Rebel said. So, Please, just let the Welsh and the Scots and the Irish and the English just get together, walk into a pub and order some beers and go, so lads, what are we going to call the new political party? Talking of which, who's there? Digital ID. What do you mean, digital ID? Oh, have you forgotten about me already? Yeah. So what happened to digital ID then? Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's writing about it. They're all talking about Robert Reeves. Oh, there's a distraction and a half. So let me tell you something. Digital ID hasn't been passed into law, and I will reiterate what I've been telling you for months and months and months. They are creating the infrastructure so you have no choice. Don't have to put it into law if the infrastructure is already there. And I told you on the last live, the way they're going to do it is if you want to be party to and be part of something that a private firm holds, they'll say you have to have digital ID. So it'll be the NHS app. You'll have to have digital ID. And I've told you for 3 years. They are creating a solution to a problem you didn't realize you had. It's really that simple. Convenience. That's all they're doing. Oh, yeah, it's convenient because we'll stop all the boats, we'll smash the gangs, and there'll be no more illegal immigration because they'll have to have digital ID to work in this country. Do you think that's going to stop them? Of course not. So nobody is talking about transparency because, as I said to you a little earlier about leaders, if a leader understands his or her people, because the next Prime Minister is going to be Angela Rayner or Yvette Cooper, they understand their people and they bring their people with them. Blair, to a certain extent, was good at that. Bullshit. So why haven't they just, if they said to this whole country, we're going to bring in digital ID, but these are the safety measures. So they would go heavy on the detail. We will have transparency rules. We would protect you and everybody else, and you could opt out so that your data, your personal details, and GDPR would protect you. Your data wouldn't go anywhere else. But I've told you, in the NHS app, I went in to have a look at, there'd been some message from a surgery or something, probably going, oh, you're of an age now, do you want to have a poo in a box? Or would you like to have a winter fuel jibber jabber? No. How do we end shite, man? So I then get an alert saying, if you continue in this app, and it's free, then we will start sending your data to third parties. I deleted that off my phone immediately. I'm not having them sell my data to other people. What would they use it for? Exactly. So now, if my doctor's surgery wants to contact me in any way, shape or form, they can pick up the phone. Hello, Mr. Allen. How are you? Doctor here. Can we do? Brilliant, doctor. Yes. Enough. Just don't let anybody get my data on your system. So I'm going to ask you a question about, not about sort of the political process, but Starmer today. Here's a question you never asked. Why is he protecting Reeves? Both Fabian, both WEF. Why is he protecting Reeves? Is it the WEF? Is it the Fabian? Is it party over self? Why? So in his speech today, here's the scary stuff. 1, I want us, me, ego, want us to have closer relationships with Europe. So who's going to be doing the shagging then? Closer relationships with Europe. 2016, we voted to not have closer relationships with Europe. In fact, the European Union, we want trade with Europe, but Europe, as in the Union, wants moolah, money, Benjamins, greenbacks, 50 million from us for us to trade with Europe. Sorry, 50 billion. Did I say million? 50 billion for us to bribe them to get back into trading with Europe. Ursula von der Leyen, bitch. 7 kids. She's had enough shagging to last a lifetime. And he then goes on to say, there are deals to be done if you're committed to relationships. Oh, hang on. Queer as folk, Keir. What are you talking about here? What kind of relationships? Fun Boy 3? And I was watching him and thought, he's dangerous. He's a firewall. Why is he protecting Reeves? Because somebody somewhere is making a shit ton of money. Technical term. Making a load of money. And then you can read into things by the process of the journalists and which news organisation they are part of and the pecking order. Now, when he's been really brassed off with the BBC's been like 4th, 5th or 6th. But today, they must be friends again because the BBC started. And it's always, we're doing this to protect the NHS, to protect the NHS, to protect the NHS. It's not to protect the NHS. It's about the fucking Benjamins. So the doctors are going to go on strike. What for? Goodness of the heart? And then I saw him. I don't know whether you saw this speech. He was... coming down with a cold. Keir? Or was the coffee a bit too strong? What is all about then? Because I was watching. And he said, I'm on a moral mission. 1 million youngsters not earning or learning. Slackers. I would suggest a couple of things. And it's really easy. Tell the kids and their families. Once they reach 18, no money for the first 10 years of their lives. No money. Prove that you've gone out to work. Prove that you've paid into the system. That goes for everybody that just arrives over for a freebie. Everybody. You've got to be in this country, including the people born here. You've got to be working for 10 years before you can start taking anything out of the system. Not earning or learning, and he's on a moral mission. What for? And I will say this. If I was like in power, if I was president, if I was God, if I was king, you know these manifestos that Robert Reeves is going to breach the manifesto, all the rules that they put in, I'd make it an illegal document. So if you breach your manifesto as a political party, you go to jail. 5 years minimum, no chance of appeal. And look, all the money that we're saving at the minute, we could build the most magnificent prison service in the world. We could show what it's like, apart from America. But we could build and build and build, and then that way, any of the politicians, they would be told, "Oh, we've got a special one for you in Westminster." Breach your manifesto, jail, because there's no juries, so we can do whatever we want. These people are morons. That's what I would do. Manifesto should be a legal document. If they break it, any of them, they go to jail. Minimum 5-year term. That'll soon start making their bums squeak. So, I've had enough of him. He's... dear Lord. I want to tell you something else as well. Now, I've had an anonymous email from someone that I know is Pucker. So, part of the email that I received states, and I'm quoting directly from this email, we're changing tack a little here. The American delegation that will arrive in Baghdad within 72 hours. The delegation is political, military, and financial, composed of the Deputy Secretary of State, accompanied by a representative of the American Treasury, officers from the War Department, and the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, this was dated 29th of November this year. And they asked me, why is the Federal Bank involved? So when I make predictions to you, they are based in something I call facts. So I've told you that Syria, until a couple of years ago, until the Assad regime buggered off to Russia, was one of the central banks that the Rothschilds wanted control of. And remember, the object of the banks is to create money from nothing, create wealth from nothing. Bring money in, loan it out multiple times, make money from nout, because they say that your money's safe. I told you that Syria was one of the central banks, and I told you that Iraq was one of the central banks. Now, the next ones will be Venezuela, and I was talking about that little country, Venezuela, that nobody really mentions 3 years ago. Had no reference, had no reason to be on anybody's radar. And now it's never out of the press. Can you see what's going on? So Venezuela, they'll try and get Hungary, but Hungary's going to put up a hell of a fight. They've not got that central bank. North Korea, Russia, China, Iran. So Iraq, the reason why the American delegation is going to Baghdad and the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private company, has nothing to do with the American government other than it loans the American government money, the American people money, and charges them interest. It's a private company. It's a bank, for God's sake. So there's a delegation going to Baghdad within 72 hours. Political, military, and financial. Deputy Secretary of State, representatives of the American Treasury, officers from the War Department and the Federal Reserve Bank. So they're going to rebuild Iraq. They're going to rebuild Syria. They're going to rebuild Gaza. There's trillions of dollars in profit in Syria, Iraq, because remember, Syria has oil wealth. Iraq has American oil fields. And Gaza is going to have Israeli oil fields very, very soon. And the gas fields and the Ben Gurion Canal running through it into the East Mediterranean Sea because they don't want to use the Suez Canal. So everybody won't find out exactly what they're up to. That's the Americans and the Israelis. Can you see? The stuff that you would find out and go, oh, right, I've got that. Yeah, we know what they're up to. They don't want you to know. But I'm telling you. So here's my prediction. Syria and Iraq, they've already got. They're saber-rattling with Venezuela. 2026 is about Iran. Just keep watching. I'm not suggesting I'm right or wrong. But if it comes to fruition, I'll be wishing I'd put a fiver on the bloody lottery. Now, I know Trump is a very clever man. And another anonymous emailer said to me, further to your comments on the auto pen, Adrian, all pardons and awarded positions by the auto pen under Biden are now null and void, as you said. That includes many judges and one in particular, Trump's nemesis, Supreme Court Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, hyphenated. Meaning, if she can legally be removed, it enables Trump to install a Republican replacement, giving him an edge in the Supreme Court. It also means these installed district judges who are Democrat activists can be gotten rid of too, meaning an end to two-tier justice in America. He's a clever bloke, this Trump. Thank you to the anonymous emailer. And if you're looking at geopolitics, which we are, and we will lighten it up in a moment, what if China's economy tanked? What would happen? They're not going to go to war, as in bombs and bullets, with the West, are they? Would they cyber attack the West? I mean, we've got peace between Russia and Ukraine now that 350 billion's been laundered through Ukraine by varying non-governmental organizations and governments and politicians. But where's the next profit center? The reason I'm saying that is war is very, very good business. Now, in 2024, global arms sales hit a record $679 billion. I'll say that to you again. War is very good business. In 2024, global arms sales hit a record $679 billion. America and Russia amongst the biggest gainers. Obviously, it was driven by Ukraine and the Gaza wars. Revenue is up 6% from last year and 26%, that's over a quarter, since 2015. So now you know why they needed a forever war, because it's good business. It's good for the profit margin. And they think we're thick. So I'm going to now give you something. So this may appear on your radar, not sure. But my sources are telling me something big is happening in the Horn of Africa. You know, that little bit at the bottom? Yeah. And Washington isn't saying why. Have you noticed? At the moment, I'm doing a bit of research into unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, UFOs, if you want. Why is it always America? Why is it always America? Because you would think, oh, they're coming from other dimensions, they're coming out of the water, from other planets. They wouldn't just go, let's go and see the Orange Man. Let's go and, have words with the Americans that can understand us because they speak English. Sometimes. So I'm just going to say this to you. I'm not suggesting that the Horn of Africa is unidentified aerial phenomenon, but US Special Forces are fighting on the ground in Puntland, not advising, not supporting, but engaging ISIS Somalia directly. This isn't a routine counter-terror operation. This is strategic. So the Khal Miskad Mountains have been one of ISIS's hardest strongholds to crack. Now, for America to send operators deep into that terrain tells you everything. There was intelligence, there was urgency, and there was no time to wait. The question now is, what's triggered this deployment of American special forces into the heart of ISIS and Somalian guerrillas? And obviously, what was serious enough to send elite forces into one of Africa's most dangerous valleys? And then there was this. This headline: breaking, major US Special Forces operation now underway in Somalia. And there's confirmed reports indicating that American Special Forces have launched a major ground assault against Islamic State Somalia Province, ISSO, in the Balad Valley of Puntland. So this is what we know so far. Mainstream media is not covering it, not reporting it, not covering it. But intense fighting across the mountain range is ongoing. Approximately 100 US special operators have been deployed deep into Puntland. Direct strikes on ISSP mountain strongholds. There's heavy engagement reported between US forces and ISIS Somali fighters. And this is not drone strikes or advisory roles. This is direct US ground combat deep inside one of ISIS's most entrenched African hideouts. And the objective seems clear: break the ISSP's foothold in Puntland and dismantle their mountain sanctuaries. But why? Somalis? Pirates? Is this to protect Suez Canal, Ben Gurion Canal, attacks on shipping through the Red Sea? What is it? I mean, if America is committing this level of force, something significant is unfolding in the Horn of Africa. And the Somali pirates are playing havoc with the shipping that's floating through the Suez Canal. But for those that are into geopolitics, could this be connected to the removal of the protected status for the Somali community in Minnesota? Trump and his inner circle have declared that the Somalis have to get out of Minnesota. There's obviously something very, very serious occurring. Not just regarding this, but also the Caribbean. Did you hear the story today? Very quickly, did you hear the story today about how an inmate, convict, managed to have a chicken dinner takeaway smuggled into prison? I mean, they're complaining about the chicken dinner, but they're not complaining about drugs being smuggled into jails, are they? So why don't we upgrade everything? It's just food. They need food, and it shouldn't just be slop. So why don't they build a prison, maximum security? Every prison should be, so they can't just leave unannounced. And just have a Greg's on site, or a Mackie D's, or chicken dinner takeaways. All of them rewards for good behaviour. Obviously, you can't put a chip shop in a prison, because fish and chips now is a tenner on average. Remember when they were putting, cod costs of quite a few bob now, and most of Europe's nicking our fish stock from the North Sea. But price of fish never came down, and the price of potatoes never came down. And now the chip shop owners are complaining that, well, we've got to charge a tenner on average for fish and chips. So they can have Greg's and Mackie D's and chicken dinner takeaways, but obviously not fish and chips. Too expensive. What else did I want to talk to you about? Something that was referenced about a month ago, and I'm going to use this language because this was the language used by official sources. There's new files exposing Britain's secret de-notice censorship regime. Now, that it might just be a coverall, it might not be specific, but British soldiers and spies censor news reporting on national security, I'll bet, coercing reporters into silence. These files show a committee boasting of a 90% success rate in enforcing the official British line on any controversial story or disappearing reports entirely. Do you know what I'm saying to you? De-notice is the phrase that most people would know about. Whether that technically is correct is a different matter. But journalists and others are having pressure put on them to make stories disappear. I've said to you before, I'm very well aware of certain paedophile rings and certain paedophiles having de-notices put on their stories, and it kicked into the long grass, and you won't be able to find anything out for 100 years, by which point nobody will ask any questions. And you know the names of these individuals. I'm not going any further than that. So, I was saying, and I'm quickly going to go through what I've got left to say. Last night I told you about Bibi Netanyahu. Now, a former Netanyahu lawyer's come out today, not out, obviously, saying that the president of Israel can't pardon the prime minister, Bibi Netanyahu, without an admission of guilt. This is high-level chess. This is proper high-level chess. So they've said to him, Isaac Herzog, as I was saying last night, there's just been a tiny little update today. The president, Isaac Herzog, says he's awaiting legal opinion on Netanyahu's request. The president of Israel denies reports he's leaning towards proposing an arrangement conditioned on the PM admitting guilt before stepping down. So it's a standoff. It's a Mexican standoff. You've got the Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, going, right, lads, I'll step down, but only if you pardon me. And then you've got the President of Israel, Isaac Herzog, saying to Bibi Netanyahu, hang on, Bibi, man, just hang on a second. No, it looks like legally you're going to have to admit guilt before I can pardon you. And is Bibi Netanyahu going to admit guilt? Is he? No. Why? Because he knows what'll happen. They won't pardon him. Oops! And I'm going to give you something that... no, I'll leave that. That's... and that. And that. And that. US ambassador is almost letting the cat out of the bag. Like I say, Trump likes to play 5D chess. Politicians over here haven't got a clue. They're inept. So the US ambassador is now warning about freedom of speech and how it's under threat in this country. They're saying the spies in the sky. More than 60 UK councils have launched fleets of drones to snoop on residents. I mean, not even Amazon can use drones to deliver yet. I'm sure it's not far away. And we know that Britain, because CCTV, we've always been guided that the CCTV on every corner and the CCTV sees everything. No, it doesn't. Sometimes they're not even switched on. So we've got CCTV cameras on street corners. Why do we need flying cameras? And then a United States ambassador comes out, not out, and talks about freedom of speech being under threat in this country. And they're saying, as another growing sign of American concern about the state of free speech in this country, this US ambassador has issued a stark warning to attendees at a Pilgrim Society of Great Britain dinner at the Guildhall, stating that the threat to free expression in Britain is very real. The Pilgrim Society of Great Britain. Is that Special Forces? Because you know, 2-2 Squadron call themselves Pilgrims. I'm not even going to tell you how they communicate because it's as funny as. If you know, you know. Oh, Jane Psychic. Has the UK been sold to a third party? What, the Chinese Communist Party, Jane? Wouldn't surprise me at all. BD Cool says, electric eye in the sky, feel my stare always there. Andrew will hire Starmer to get his titles back. Depends what they've got on both of them at the time. GB Patriot, that's very funny. Somebody needs his Miranda rights reading to him. Then straight off to Now Street Magistrates Court, and he can get a full wardrobe, Starmer, to defend him. And Lammy, he's got a new suit. So there is stuff going on. And I want to tell you about Amazon. I mentioned them a little while ago. But Amazon have a massive data center And it's problematic, these data centers. Why? Simply because they need huge amounts of water to cool blazing hot computer chips. And what they've done is they've added millions of gallons of wastewater every year to the heavy volume of farm runoff, which Morrow County in America was already struggling to keep up with. So, when people go, oh, AI is going to take over the world. Well, they're not. Because A, you just switch them off at the wall. They're never going to self-power. And that if they were, then the data centers running everything, the government stuff, sneaky beaky stuff, and AI, they need huge amounts of water. And this wastewater is going into the local water table. And in Morrow County, where this huge Amazon data center is, and they want them in this country. Remember when Starmer stands up and goes, inward investment, inward investment. We don't even know what it is. I've told you, he never tells you the detail. And they didn't realize in Morrow County in America. But the local water table was tainted as huge volumes of data center and agricultural wastewater saturated the water table. So it goes into what you and I drink, possibly. And when politicians and governments are like 1984, really magnanimous, they look after you. Oh, don't worry. Go back to sleep. Your government loves you. Just keep paying your taxes and your national insurance. Go back to sleep. There's some new declassified British documents. They've now begun to release Australia's nuclear test documents after 75 years. So most of the people involved in this will have fallen off their perch-ish. And now the UK government and the documents that they're releasing expose how radioactive clouds from nuclear tests in Australia took days, not hours, to clear, contaminating vast areas in the lead-up to the 1956 Melbourne Olympics. What the left hand does, the right hand has no bloody clue about. That's what they're up to. That's what they're doing. Right. Thank you to everyone who's been commenting so far in the comments this evening. Let me just do that because taking an editorial decision. I'm going to call it a day for the live tonight. Thank you for turning up at 8 o'clock. Thank you for your opinions and your ideas. Thank you for all of your support so far this evening. Andrew James says, anyone see the documentary about poison water in Cornwall? No, I didn't, Andrew. Which channel was that on? I'll definitely give that a look. Les Griffith says we could do with a squadron of Daleks to deal with an armada of dinghies. I know that the Daleks can go upstairs now, but water, it might short their circuitry. Thank you to everybody for their very kind words. Thank you, Stuart. As always, thank you for your kind support, sir. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a little advent calendar story, a little bit of a ghost story. I'll do that and I'll put it up roughly about 10 o'clock this evening. So thank you for your likes. Please, if we could get it over 100 this evening, I really would appreciate it. Thank you for your likes. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. I really appreciate it always. And we're next live on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thank you to everyone who's enjoyed it and the very kind words. Whatever you do, wherever you go, be well, be safe. Don't forget your emergency Battenberg and, well, a little altar wine if you so choose. But my name's Adrian Allen, and the Theatre of the Mind, this is not a show. This is a mission, and it's a mission for truth. And we go again Wednesday, 8 p.m. Stand by for a ghost story.